Okay, hang on, Jeff, please. All right. Where's the knife? Right there. All right, how's everybody doing out there? This is Pete over at D.I.Y. Auto School. Behind me, we got a professional welder with us today. His name's Jed. He owns River Rat Welding over here in Moab, Utah. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Okay, we're doing great. We brought Jed over here because we got a box here that we're going to open up. And what that box consists of is a inverter welder that costs $100. You want to tell everybody what inverter means, Jed? Being the professional that you are.
Inverters mean that there's an inverter and a transformer. An inverter basically takes AC power, which is what most plugs run off of, and converts it to direct current.
Okay, so this welder doesn't have a transformer in it, is what you're saying?
Correct.
So this is like a computer welder. Wow.
And with inverters, you're able to make them a lot smaller, and this thing is
pretty small.
Really small.
I'm going to go ahead and read this off to you. It comes from a company called Arcraft, A-R-C-R-A-F-T. Make sure you go into the description of this video to find all the information about this welder that we're going to show you. Jed actually brought some stuff that I didn't know he brought. What is that green thing?
This is some aluminum filler rod.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people don't use aluminum for stick welding, and I use it basically for in the field. A lot of trailers around here are aluminum, and basically what I use it for is to go out. For example, last year I had a trailer that had the tongue broke off at the frame, and so I went out, welded it in the field with my stick welder, took it to my shop, and then MIG welded it. So
what you're saying is we're going to use this welder, and we're going to try to accomplish a aluminum welding job with this welder.
That is correct.
Now this is that $100 inverter hobby welder we're talking about here.
Yes.
This isn't $5,000, $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 miller.
No.
Okay, let's go over a few items here. Now in the box we got the Arcraft Arc Welder. It's a welder machine, Arc 801 DC inverter, 20 to 75 amp. Is that a good output, Jeff?
That's
20 to 75.
That is a really good output for the 110 volt systems.
Now when we say 20 amp to 75, 20 would be the lowest, 75 would be the highest. Now what does that mean when you're talking that?
So that means the input that goes through the electrode into the metal, the 75 amps is what the heat.
That's the heat range. Range.
And we've got some 332 7018 that we're going to try and run.
Now hold on a minute. What do you mean? What's that? Is that rod?
That's the rod.
Okay, so this is going to be our.
This is going to be one of our tests. The 7018 is.
No, that's a thick rod there.
It's a pretty thick rod. 75 amps is right at the bottom.
That's at the bottom level. Okay.
Yes.
Now what about that other rod you got there? Now what's that good at?
Now this is some 6013, and it runs between 55 amps to 75 amps.
So that's basically the best rod, overall rod for this. Let's go down the line here. What else does it say here? It's a powerful 75 amp DC output, welds materials up to 1/8 inch thick. Is that thick to you, Jed? I mean, we're looking, this is 1/8 inch right here, buddy.
It's pretty thin stuff.
That's thin. That looks pretty thick to me for the home hobby guy that wants to build stuff. That's pretty heavy duty stuff, Jed.
Pretty thick, yeah.
Okay. All right, so, and then of course we got some other random stuff here that we're going to try it on. We got some round rod. Look what I got. I got some rebar. So we're going to see what Jed's going to do, because he's going to be
Love welding rebar. Love welding some rebar. Okay,
so Jed's going to be the welder today. And then, just to let everybody know, here's our aluminum that Jed brought with him, and this is a D.I.Y. Auto School surprise. I didn't know he was going to do this. That was all on him. So let's get back to this, and then we're going to get that box open. 1/8 inch inverter technology requires less input. What does that mean? Less input power, Jed?
That means that the power coming from the plug going into this machine with an inverter uses less power than a transformer.
Duty cycle 20% at 75 amps. What is that, Jed? What are we talking?
That means when this machine is all the way up at 75 amps, the duty cycle is what the manufacturer recommends on how long you can run it. So a 20% duty cycle means you can run it for 20 minutes or 2 minutes straight out.
Without stopping.
Without stopping, and every 10 minutes.
So every 10 minutes you can sit there for 2 minutes and weld a long line if you want. But then you have to let it cool down. Let it cool down for, like, what would you say, about 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
8 minutes.
Compact, extra lightweight case. It does have a shoulder strap, plus a removable, replaceable weld cables for easy.
with that strap, Pete, can you wear it as a purse?
Thank you, Jed. I appreciate that. Funny guy today. Built-in hot start, anti-stick, and arc force features for quick and easy arc starting and restarts. Thermal overload protection. Let's start with the anti-stick. What is that, Jed?
So anti-stick, basically, when you're stick welding, a lot of times when you first start out, they like to stick. And the anti-stick, basically what it does is, from what I've understood, is there's some diodes and things that store a little bit of extra power to get it going.
And this all has to do with the inverter
And this,
situation.
this is all that inverter and the computer technology.
So having this inverter technology really bumps it up. It says continuous welding. The efficient inverter-powered system produces smooth DC arc welds. Now I know for a fact, I've been with you out in the field, we've gone to extreme measures of arc welding Jeeps that actually were broke down, stuck out in the middle of nowhere, and I've seen you arc weld, and those welds hold up better than a gorilla weld, so I know you're a good welder. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get Jed. If you can open the box for us, Jed. Yep. I'm gonna get behind the camera, we're gonna let Jed take over, and I will ask questions and he will do the answering, and he's also gonna do the welding, people.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
Okay, so this must be our welder right here.
Yep, this is...
All right, let's get that thing
it.
open and let's check it out. Now, just out of curiosity, Jed, while you're opening it, have you ever used a welder this small before?
I have not. I've
Okay.
used...
Have you ever been curious about how they work?
I've always been curious how they work. Just
Okay.
never really had the opportunity to, and so
All
I'm
right. Get that side.
quite excited for Pete inviting me up here today.
I appreciate that. I'm glad you came up here, Jed. You've already answered a lot of questions that I didn't have answers for.
So this thing is packaged really nicely with some styrofoam on the ends. Let's pull this thing out of here.
Okay, go ahead. There you go.
Wow,
Pull it on out. What are you thinking, Jed? What's going on?
that is tiny. I like that.
Look how little that is. Wow. Okay, so as we're unpacking it, it looks like it's packed very well. I like the way they packed it, sealed it up in a plastic bag, and look at this thing. Jed's holding that with one hand. Wow. How much does it weigh, Jed?
Says it weighs about 8 pounds, and that sounds about right.
Yeah. All right, so we got the welder out. Now, how long is the cord on that, would you say, Jed?
It's about probably 8 feet.
About an 8-foot cord. That's good. I mean, that's nice to know that that cord's extra long like that, right?
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Okay. Wow, that is handy, isn't it? Look at this.
I think
Jeez.
it's kind of pretty. Now we got your stinger, which is your...
Okay, now that's the, what's the correct name for that?
This is your electrode holder.
Okay,
A lot of people in the industry call it your stinger,
right,
because when you have your electrodes in, it looks like a stinger from a bee.
right. Now, let me ask you this. What's the quality of that stinger? Can you go ahead and give us a little angle on that?
It's about what I would expect for
$100 item?
$100.
I mean, it's not a
Welder.
Tweako.
It's not a Tweako, but it's...
Is it pretty heavy duty for something like if the guy at home wanted to do some...
Yeah, I'd
I
say
mean, what
this
if you
is...
drop that on the ground? Do you think it would bounce back and be okay, or is it cheap made, or...
It feels like it's a little cheap plastic, but it should...
But for $100.
Yeah, should hold up just fine.
Okay. So now what is this actually for now? Where does that plug in, Jed?
This plugs into these connections here.
Now is it the plus or the minus that plugs into, or
Usually when you're stick welding like this, you want DC electrode positive, which is what we'll plug it into right now.
Okay.
And
And then you twist it and
spin
lock
that
it.
around and it locks it in.
All right.
Kind of has a little bit of a screw effect in there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's the electrode. Now, how long would you say that is?
That is, I would say
that's
it's also about 8 feet.
About an 8-footer. That's actually pretty good, right?
Yeah, that's
So that gives you a 16-foot reach.
not bad. And then you can put an extension cord on this because
Yeah.
it's only at 110.
Wow. Okay.
They do recommend 20 amps
On the cord itself, or
on the plug. They recommend to
Okay.
have a 20 amp plug.
got it. Got it. So aren't most house plugs 15 amp?
Most house plugs are 15 amps.
Okay.
The way you can tell a 20 amp plug is, for example, here, the 20 amp plugs typically have this
That line in
line
it?
on the inside.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So you have to have a 20 amp duty cycle plug outlet.
Technically, you don't necessarily have to, but it's going to be...
It's going to make it run more accurate and efficient.
You won't trip the breakers easily
Okay,
if you're running this at full power, which we're going to try and do today.
right. Now I noticed that the ground cable isn't as long as the...
Ground cable is not as long.
And now is that normal that the ground cable would be shorter?
Yeah, because all you're doing really is just
grounding it on metal.
grounding it onto the
Got
thing.
it.
Don't really need that much.
And then that would plug into your negative.
That's actually backwards.
Uh-oh,
Look at
Jed's gonna screw us up here. He's gonna
My bad.
blow us up on this little welder. Okay, are we done with this box, Jed? What else was in there? I didn't...
There is a...
Okay, we got an instruction sheet. We like instructions.
And also we got piece of purse.
Yeah, purse holder. There you go. Okay, let's go over the instruction manual. That's really nice. I like when I purchase something that it has instructions in it. A lot of these situations, what they're doing now is they're telling you to get online and read PDF files and all that. So when you get the instructions there, that's telling you that the people that are selling the product really care about you. Let's go ahead and set all that over there. We're not going to use that right now. What we are here for is to see this little welder in action. Okay, Jed, what's going on, buddy? What do we got?
We've got...
We've got some rebar, and then we got some flat steel here. Now, is that 1/8 inch? I'm pretty sure all this is going to be...
That's right around 1/8 inch.
That's 1/8 inch, okay.
Looks about right.
Now, this is a little thicker than 1/8 inch, but we're going to see what happens. And then, of course, you got your aluminum. All right, now let me ask you something about arc welding. Do you have to have the metal super clean like you'd have to do with TIG welding?
Not necessarily. With aluminum, you do a little bit more.
Uh-huh.
And I've already cleaned this morning.
Okay, because I noticed there's some pretty big gaps going on here. Is that going to weld?
That should weld just fine, yeah. With
Okay.
aluminum is quite a bit different than steel. The aluminum has about 8 times more surface tension than steel does.
Okay.
And so it's a lot easier to fill gaps with aluminum. It's harder, once you fill a gap, it's a lot easier to keep going with that
Keep going
gap.
on aluminum than it is steel.
The hardest part is joining those 3 different metals, because you've got this metal, and this metal that's going in.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So you got this
metals.
aluminum, and that, and you got to join them all together
Trying
to
to
make
join them
one.
together, and that breaking that surface tension and combining them
Got it.
is the hardest thing for
Okay.
aluminum welding. Okay, so we'll turn this thing on. And I'll go with the 6013. So I'll put it at right about 55 amps.
All right. Now, when you say 6013, is this the skinnier stuff or the thicker?
6013, this is the skinnier stuff. This
All
is,
right.
don't remember exactly what this is. I think it's around an 1/8 inch
Okay.
thickness.
All right. All right, so Jed's going to go ahead and attempt to weld this 1/8 inch piece of steel with this 1/8 inch steel, just like we're looking at here, using the Arcraft Inverter Arc Welder, what you're looking at right here.
There we go. It's a little cold. See if we can turn it up a bit.
Okay, hold on a minute. I heard you say that it was a little cold.
A little cold.
Okay.
It's not seating in there, so we're going to turn it up a bit.
Okay, you're going to turn the heat up because we're not getting a good penetration.
Correct. So I'm going to turn it up to about 65.
Okay. All right, it's all on you, buddy.
There we go.
What are you thinking, Jed?
That felt pretty good. Let's get my my hammer, get that slag off.
Yeah, that penetrated nice. I like that. Wow.
That looks pretty clean up in there. A little bit of defects right there. And
Right. But for the hobby guy,
for the hobby guy, that'd be great. And for a guy that's out in the
field,
field and just need to get something back together real
maybe.
quick.
Yeah. Kind of like what you're going to use it for.
Yep, exactly. All right, for this weld came out pretty good. I like the way it welds. I turned it up a little bit more than I was hoping to and anticipating. But for what this is, I think it's great. We're gonna try some about 3/8 rebar on an 1/8 inch plate and see how well this welds.
Wow, that actually welded nice.
Yeah, that was a little better than I was anticipating.
That's
after the last
now this
weld.
is pretty thick too.
Yeah, it's about 3/8.
Wow. Go ahead and clean that slag up,
See what
Jed.
that looks like.
What are you thinking, buddy?
It's hot.
What do you think of the weld, though? That's what I'm
That
asking.
weld looks pretty dang good, especially right.
Wow.
Right in here.
I'm actually impressed with this welder so far.
I am definitely impressed with this.
That looks pretty nice.
So we'll turn it up as high as it will go, and we'll try some 70/18. That's 3/30 seconds, which is, according to their website, it'll run 3/30 seconds rod. So
Okay, now this is 3/30 seconds,
this is
which is
3/30
thicker.
seconds. It's thicker than where to go.
Yeah.
Get another one.
Okay, I see. Hold it
Quite
right
a
there.
bit thicker.
Oh yes, double almost.
Yep.
Okay, so you ran it all the way up. Let's get this square now. So you got it all the way up to 75 amps. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna weld this, I guess, again.
Yeah, we'll just keep welding that rebar.
Okay, and you're using a rod that's twice as thick, because this is the one you just used. And one more thing I want to mention to everybody, Jed has not cleaned that metal off yet.
Nope.
On arc welding, I guess it's not necessary.
It's not necessary because it penetrates through the dross
Got it.
and all the crap and the oils and
Okay.
stuff that's on here.
All right, so
For
this
the mill
is
scale. This is the mill scale, not the dross. The dross is
okay.
from plasma cutting, and I do that a lot too.
That looked like it melted on there pretty good, Jed.
It did. I would definitely say
That is crazy, dude.
that it can.
I can't believe that.
I would definitely say that it can run 70/18. It's really on the lower end. This would be great.
That would be the
for,
maximum.
Yeah, this is this. If I was going to use 70/18 with this, I would use it primarily for directly uphill.
Oh,
Say,
okay.
like that.
Wow. So when you're saying uphill, what are you talking about?
I mean uphill.
This is
Vertical.
Okay, instead of horizontal.
Yep.
Now, what's the difference between welding on that? What are you talking about?
So that means I would be welding like this and
Oh, and climbing uphill.
climbing uphill.
Got it.
Vertical uphill welding.
Okay.
70/18 is a great rod for that. It's a great all-purpose rod.
Clean that off. Let's see what we got.
Definitely one of my favorites. Now that it's cooled off.
Look at that. Wow, that's amazing, dude. That's pretty.
That is not bad.
I'm shocked for $100. That's just. I'm telling you, this little welder is really a mind blower, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
Now, what's this mean right here, Jed? Thermal. What's that talking?
So that the thermal is telling you if the machine's overheating.
Oh, okay.
The interior rating is up to 311 degrees of what
okay.
can be inside before it
Got
starts
it.
overheating. So that light will turn on when it's about 311 degrees or so.
Well, I'm really impressed with the metal welding, definitely for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to show anybody else any of that. What we do need to do, though, I want to see what this aluminum, because that was a surprise you threw on me.
Okay, we can weld some aluminum. With aluminum, it takes a bit more power to weld aluminum than it does steel, just because it takes more power to get the heat in there and keep the heat, because aluminum is really good at dissipating the heat. It pushes it away from the weld very quickly, as opposed to steel keeps it right there.
Keeps it all compact. Now, are we going to leave that at 75?
So we're going to leave it at 75. This is the same size as the 7018.
Same size. This
Same
is just
size.
aluminum versus steel. Got
Correct.
it. Okay.
And aluminum with the same size rod takes a little bit more power. So we're going to see if we're able to do this.
Okay, we don't know for sure, but we're testing it out and checking it. Got it.
Correct.
Okay.
So I'm going to start over here and work my way this way.
Do whatever you got to do.
So it looks like the aluminum rod that I have is a little bit too big for what this is.
So what you're saying, the thinner the rod, the less heat you need.
Correct. So
Okay. So do they make a thinner rod?
they make a thinner rod. They make a couple of thinner rods, and it should.
Well, let me ask you this, Jed. From what you just did here, do you think this machine, if you had the proper size rod, would weld that aluminum?
I think it would. Yeah.
Okay. We just don't have the right proper rod. And this machine is good for,
It
we
is
know,
great
steel.
For some 6013, 1/8 inch 6013, 7018.
Yeah.
It will run 332nd. It says it will on their website. It's just right on the lower end.
Wow.
I would recommend if you are going to use 316 or 332nds, run uphill.
Okay, buddy. All right, Jed, thanks for all your help.
Thank you,
The
bud.
aluminum didn't weld. That's okay, though. I see where it did. Now, take your hammer. Is that stuck to that, or is it loose?
Let's find out.
Yeah. Okay. So, if we had a thinner rod for the aluminum, possibly it would
Correct.
weld, but not today. This is
And
Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete. We got Jed. Thank you very much, Jed,
you
for coming
betcha.
over. You did an awesome job, and
Thanks
guess
for
what?
having me.
My friend Pete's going to give you that for helping me make this video.
thank you.
And I hope you could use it.
I hope so too.
Okay, bud. Now, are you going to come back anytime soon? Maybe do some more reviews with us.
I hope so.
Okay, I hope you do too. Take it easy. Arcraft, A-R-C-R-A-F-T. Look in the description of the video for all the information on this little thing. And wow, that thing, I don't even think it weighs 8 pounds, dude. That's pretty amazing,
Pretty
bud.
light.
I think you're going to be able to use this out in the field and really do some damage with it, Jed.
I think so.
Take it easy, buddy.
Me too.
See you later,
Cool.
Jed. Thank
See
you,
you
sir.
guys.
All right. Okay, so what we just did a review on this welder, and the welder actually came through like flying colors, and I think you're going to be as happy as a cat, a big fat cat, just like Jed is. Take it easy.